Hello everyone, and thank you all for joining us for this webinar on live blood analysis, where we will be discussing the legitimacy and efficacy of live blood analysis. Please do send in your questions throughout the webinar. You'll find a panel on your screen where you can enter your questions. And don't forget to click on the full screen button to see the webinar in full screen. So let's get started. First of all, what is live blood analysis? Well, live and dry blood analysis is also known as blood cell analysis, the oxidative stress test, nutritional analysis, and/or nutritional microscopy. Although not so widely known in the UK, it is better known in the US, Russia, South Africa, and parts of Europe. It's a simple test conducted by a nutritional microscopist to get an overall picture of the blood. The practitioner will begin with a small painless prick of the finger with a sterilized lancet to collect a single drop of blood. Now this drop is placed on a glass slide and covered to keep the sample intact and slow down the drying process. Next, the sample is placed under a high magnification dark field microscope, which is linked to a television monitor or a screen. Now, live blood analysis is a way to determine how your nutrition is affecting your overall health. It is being advertised in places where health-conscious people frequent. Although it's not considered mainstream or even regulated, by some it is considered an informative complement to traditional medicine. And this analysis is just another way to gain some useful insight into your health. With all the good things that can be said about this testing from alternative practitioners, there is, however, also some opposition. This negativity in the US seems to stem from the findings of the Department of Health and Human Resources Office of Inspector General and a law that was passed by Congress in 1988 called the Clinical Laboratory Improvement Amendments. For more clarification, the Health and Human Services states the Clinical Laboratory Improvement Amendments law establishes quality standard for all laboratory testing to ensure the accuracy, reliability and timeliness of patient test results regardless of where the test was performed. The live blood cell analysis was never able to meet these requirements. Basically, the Department of Health and Human Resources feels that the test may be open to too much interpretation. And also, it did not meet personnel requirements because it can be administered by nutritionists, herbologists, naturopaths and chiropractors. Therefore, it was ultimately considered an unregulated and unreliable test, and where the US goes, the UK usually follows. In my experience, most of the opposition to live blood analysis is from sources that know very little about it. For example, even Wikipedia, which we tend to use for all of our definitions in this day and age, defines live blood analysis mistakenly as a diagnostic procedure. As you can see, Wikipedia says that live blood analysis claims the ability to diagnose disease from blood examined using dark field microscopy. It says that live blood analysis, hemiview or nutritional blood analysis is the use of high-resolution dark field microscopy to observe live blood cells. Live blood analysis is promoted by some alternative medicine practitioners who assert that it can diagnose a range of diseases. It then goes on to define that there is no scientific evidence that live blood analysis is reliable or effective, and it has been described as a fraudulent means of convincing patients that they are ill and should purchase dietary supplements. Now, live blood analysis is actually not a diagnostic tool and is not used for diagnosis. There is plenty of scientific evidence that live blood analysis is reliable and effective, and live blood analysis is mainly concerned with changing diet and lifestyle rather than selling dietary supplements. Now today we will be asking Dr. Ocker for the answers to some of these questions. We have Dr. Ocker here live in this webinar. Dr. Ocker is a registered homeopathic doctor who has established himself as a leader in live and dry blood analysis. Over his years in practice, he has seen the power of live blood analysis in identifying health challenges accurately and motivating patients to make positive changes in their lifestyle and diet. Dr. Ocker has over 14 years' experience in his live blood analysis clinical practice, as well as training many practitioners worldwide in this fascinating technique. Dr. Ocker is considered one of the leading authorities in the field of live blood analysis. Hello, Dr. Ocker. Could you please answer some of the submitted questions this evening regarding live blood analysis?
Hi, good evening and welcome everybody. Yes, of course, I'll be glad to answer some questions.
Thank you very much. Now our first question is live blood analysis used for diagnosis of disease?
All right, well, this is perhaps one of the main reasons why live blood analysis is generally not accepted by conventional medicine. And this is the fact that it is expected to work as a diagnostic tool. As you pointed out, the Department of Health and Human Resources in the USA found that live blood analysis is not reliable, but they were assessing its reliability as a diagnostic test. Any practitioner that has received proper training in live blood analysis knows that this technique is not used to diagnose medical diseases. Its value doesn't lie in its ability to detect some medical disease from a drop of blood, but rather to evaluate the state of the body's internal environment, or what we refer to as the terrain. By assessing the condition of the terrain, we are able to detect imbalances that may precede the development of a specific condition. And in cases where a medical condition already exists, these imbalances play a major role in the quality of life that the person experiences.
Good, thank you for that. Now the next question is, what is the scientific evidence for live blood analysis? And also, what is the history of live blood analysis? Where did it all start and why?
Okay. Well, the first thing I should mention here is that there is a fair degree of overlap between live blood analysis and standard hematology. We are looking at blood after all, so we do see the same morphologies that can be seen in peripheral blood smears. Signs like acanthocytes, podocytes, leukocytosis, keratocytes, hypersegmented neutrophils, etc., all described in hematology and have been subjected to years of scientific research. However, because we are looking at live blood that has not been altered in any way, there are a whole host of other signs that may be detected and have been connected to specific nutritional imbalances, dietary and lifestyle factors through years of clinical work. One of the first pioneers in live blood analysis was Professor Marcel Bessy, a French hematologist who lectured at the University of Paris in the 1960s and 70s. Now, he wrote a number of books describing the value of evaluating blood in a living, unchanged and non-stained state. He believes that all hematology labs should change from analyzing stained blood samples to live samples, mainly because with live samples you are able to observe the dynamic life processes at the cellular level unfold in real time. You can capture events and sequences that are impossible to see in static, dead, stained slides. Now, since Professor Bessy, there has been other researchers that have continued to connect the dots between what is seen in the blood and the client's state of health, and ultimately to the interventions that are consistently successful in correcting a specific anomaly. Thanks to the work of these researchers, we now understand the physiological basis of most live blood anomalies. In other words, we know the underlying processes that lead to the development of a particular anomaly in the blood. For example, in live blood analysis, We always treated the presence of fibrin as a liver stress indicator. We now know that there are two separate mechanisms for fibrin formation that relate to the liver. Firstly, fibrin is formed from fibrinogen, one of the acute phase proteins, which is produced by the liver in response to inflammation. And secondly, heparin, this is an anticoagulant factor, is degraded in liver diseases. And they found that even a moderate deficiency in serum heparin levels may accelerate fibrin production. Then there was also Professor Günther Enderlein, a German bacteriologist from the early 20th century, who developed a theory called pleomorphism. Some live blood analysis courses only teach blood analysis from a pleomorphic perspective, and this is another cause for controversy because pleomorphism is not accepted by conventional medicine. The research into the validity of pleomorphism has been relatively inconclusive, so we don't really spend a lot of time on the pleomorphic perspective of the various blood anomalies in the course. The focus is more on nutrition and diet and lifestyle. Another important thing to mention is that there have been a number of scientific studies that prove the link between specific blood anomalies and specific health challenges. For example, the presence of thrombocyte aggregation, these are little groups of platelets that can be seen in the blood, has been shown to be strongly associated with an increased risk of heart disease. Another study showed that there was a strong correlation between live blood analysis and conventional tests on points such as iron deficiency, vitamin B12 deficiency, liver disease, neutrophilia, and high cholesterol. But here they tested for conditions that can be verified by conventional tests, and this borders on medical diagnosis. The real challenge is in designing a study to effectively assess the ability of live blood analysis to detect the conditions it is ideally suited to detect. In other words, the imbalances within the terrain. Now, there really are no conventionally accepted tests for things like latent tissue acidosis or toxicity or an intestinal candida overgrowth. So the unique ability of live blood analysis to detect these conditions makes it very difficult to develop an objective study to really test its accuracy. The best is perhaps to consider a large-scale retrospective survey to assess the changes experienced by clients after live blood analysis.
Thank you. Very well answered again. So Dr. Ocker, now why does live blood analysis attract such negative press?
Okay, well, live blood analysis is a tool used by natural health practitioners. Now, unfortunately, there still is a great divide between conventional medicine and complementary medicine. Because the two philosophies are so different, here we have a tool that can be used to detect conditions that conventional medicine is still largely in denial about, such as the need for detoxification, heavy metal toxicity, latent acidosis, and so on. So I think it's fair to expect some degree of resistance from conventional medicine as a result of that. The other factor is, of course, the fact that most medically trained practitioners don't know anything about live blood analysis and immediately assume that it must be a diagnostic tool. Also, some negative press comes from the perception that live blood analysis is only used to sell products. There are some practitioners who use it as a tool to sell their clients a bunch of supplements, and the negative press is justified in these cases. However, the problem does not lie with live blood analysis itself, but rather with greedy people who are only interested in profits and not in giving their clients value for money. This is not unique to live blood analysis. Other tests are used in the same way, and the same types of people are found in every other industry as well. I don't think we can deny the delivery of a useful service because because of the abuse of a few charlatans. If we did that, we would have no real healthcare system at all.
Okay, thank you. We do have a question now. Is live blood analysis legal?
All right, live blood analysis is not regulated, although there are restrictions in place in some states in the USA. Aside from the USA, if you can show that you have received formal training in live blood analysis, you will be able to use this technique, provided you don't make any claims about a diagnosis. We have not been able to find out which states in the USA have restrictions about live blood analysis, and I know of practitioners all across the USA that use live blood analysis without any incident. Although one has to be careful, depending on your scope of practice from your other qualifications, to prescribe treatment. Most of my clients in the USA state that they use live blood analysis as a tool to educate their clients about the impact of diet and nutrition on their health.
Good. And can anyone take the blood sample, or does it have to be a medical doctor?
Okay, well, it's just a finger prick, so anyone can really do it. I haven't come across any restrictions for lancing fingers. It's only when blood is drawn from vessels that a nurse or doctor needs to do it.
Okay, good. And we have a question here. Some people might think it all sounds too good to be true. Is there a catch?
No, as long as you use live blood analysis for what it is intended to be used, you won't experience the benefits of live blood analysis if you try to use it to diagnose medical diseases, or if you don't have sufficient training in the theory and the practice, or if you don't have a good enough microscope system.
Okay, and finally, I think, what is the difference between traditional blood tests and live blood analysis?
All right, well, we can go through those. In conventional blood tests, they use stained, essentially dead blood, whereas in live blood analysis we use live blood. Conventional blood tests make use of venous blood, so blood drawn from veins, whereas with live blood analysis we use capillary blood. In conventional blood tests they add a coagulant to the sample. In live blood analysis nothing really is added to the samples. In conventional blood tests the technician only really views the blood hours after drawing the sample, whereas in live blood analysis we view the blood sample immediately after taking the sample. In conventional blood tests, only a few parameters are tested, generally only what is specified on the form, whereas in live blood analysis many parameters are tested. Essentially anything that is present in the blood will show up and will be detected. And in conventional blood tests they are more concerned with diagnosing disease, whereas in live blood analysis we are really concerned with preventing disease. Also with conventional blood tests the client only really see the blood test results on a report, and in live blood analysis it's more of an interactive process where the client actually sees their blood, and that really plays a big role in the strength of blood analysis as well.
Thank you very much for that. We don't seem to have any more questions for the moment, so I'd just like to say thank you so very much for clearing up a lot of misinformation and answering our questions very clearly and precisely. Are there any more questions? We don't seem to have any at the moment. If you do have any questions, please send them to us at info@livebloodlondon.com, and we'll be very pleased to answer them. Also, please visit our website for more information on live blood analysis, which is www.livebloodonline.com. Now, if you're interested in taking one of our training courses, again, please email us for our information pack at info@livebloodlondon.com. And thank you very much for joining us. We hope you will join us again in the near future. We will be covering more topics about live blood analysis, so do also let us know if you want to be in our mailing list. So thank you very, very much for that, Dr. Ocker, and we look forward to speaking to you again in the future.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. And goodbye from Live Blood Online, and goodbye from Dr. Ocker.
Goodbye. Keep well. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.